I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to open back up the closed portion of the meeting.
You two, that's on.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to close the closed portion of this meeting. I'm going to open it up to the general public. And everyone is in agreement. We're going to ask for any public comment. If there is any public comment, please come forward, state your name and your address, if you will. Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close public comment. At this time, commissioners, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
For proper motion in a second, I'll do a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, Commissioner Lori made the motion and Commissioner DeVito seconded to adjourn. This meeting is now adjourned. It is approximately 3:11. Thank you.
So we need to hand these materials back.
Yep.
Are we giving these to the city manager?
Just give them to the city manager, yeah.
Okay.
Is the J.O. Barnes house?
Okay.
Does that sound right? The J.O. Barnes house?
Yeah.
This is online. This is from the mayor, and the right mayor.
Is anybody cold?
Hi.
DJ, how are you?
Yeah.
Temperature.
It is cold. Are you cold?
I mean, it does turn off.
I can go real fast and turn it, open up the workshop while he does that. Then we'll open the workshop up, okay?
Okay.
That's what, Mayor,
Yes.
is my understanding when we're comfortable, the people on that end of the building get warm? Is that how that works?
So I think we're separate.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean, you're two different? Yeah, I think there's different, because like when this one went down, they weren't dealing with it over there. Is that correct, Derek?
Ma'am,
That they have a whole different system over there.
they do, the one outside of your office
Is
and my office
Controls
controls
this,
this.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll tell you what, it's hot outside and they fixed it and it's been working.
Yeah.
It's never worked like this since I've been here, it's really working.
Yeah.
It's surprising what a really small, little tiny, part can do. And how much it costs. Yes. And how much it costs.
And I'll still continue to promote the fact that we need to have a maintenance program on those initiatives, whether it's checking this out.
Yeah.
Every 6 months.
Deferred maintenance program, because
I mean, we've been paying a
Yeah.
lot to replace this,
Yeah.
to replace you, that should never have been broken.
Yeah.
You gotta check the drain lines once or twice a year and blow them out. And you need to check the filter line, change filters too.
Yeah.
That you have to do every month. People blow their air conditioners out all the time because they never change the filters on it.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's built in 1938. Of your house,
320 South Main?
1938.
Oh, which means,
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it.
yeah, I know.
Get a displaced matters sign.
Oh, she wants a This Place Matters sign,
Mhm.
okay,
I was under the structure.
that's nice. Well, I thought she was asking for the place, but,
No, that's what,
So-
she'd asked Dan about it.
so, I live up the street, our house was built in 1926, it's 100 years old this year.
Did you have a birthday party for it?
We are gonna have a
I was
birthday party.
joking, but okay,
I'm serious. No, we're gonna have a party for it,
that's cool. It is.
but if you read the latest survey that was done, then you will know it's important if you want your house to retain its historic character, you be careful of the changes that you make to the outside structure. Which we have tried to tend to, but I have no idea what effect our aluminum roof has had on our tin roof.
I've got a tin roof too.
Right, and a lot of us do, just because of the storms. Okay.
I I have one too, but my house was built in nineteen
You know, this
ninety-nine.
is on YouTube, right?
Well,
Being
yeah,
recorded on YouTube.
yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna adjourn, but
That's fine. Thank you though.
even though we adjourned, the meeting is adjourned, so you should stop it.
I just started it.
I know, but that's all we needed to have was that open session part,
Right, but she's getting ready for the workshop.
but still she needs to end this,
Right.
start a new one for the workshop. And it's a
Oh, she had to turn us off. Okay, so at this time, if everybody's ready, I'm gonna open up our workshop. This is a city commission workshop. The date is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. It's approximately 3:16. And do you want to do a roll call quickly? Stephanie?
Commissioner Burton,
I'm sorry, here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Ward,
president.
Commissioner DeVito,
Present.
Mayor Myers,
Present.
City Manager, Derek Merton,
Is
Allegra, City Attorney.
Here.
Bonnie Loveday.
Here.
Captain Major Ushery.
Here.
Oh, Captain, I'm sorry.
Major.
Captain Major. Yeah, that's a new title. I like that.
I have been.
I like that. Okay,
Okay, well, Taylor, back to you first.
okay. So we are here today to discuss golf carts, e-bikes, and electric scooters. Mr. Martin has stepped out for just a moment. In his absence, I do want to I had a meeting yesterday, with someone, and this is just for informational purposes. It is the, Fire Watch, and it's for veterans. And so he's asked about doing training, locally for the people in the community, just so that, to be able to help out veterans that are, in need or in crisis. And so I told him that we would look into this. I mentioned it to all of you. And it's not just for veterans, but it's to help also with suicide, to be able to identify and to help, or to at least alert. And, he would do the trainings completely free. And, we talked about possibly doing it at some point in about a 30 to 45-minute training session, maybe doing it sometime in the summer. He said he would come in May and just kind of give us an overview of the services that they provide. So anyway, and with that,
Yeah,
yes,
what is the organization?
It's called Firewall.
Fire Watch,
Fair Watch.
Fire Watch. I've got the brochures on it, so I can hand those out. He said I believe he went over to their Christian Service Center, and he said he spoke to a veteran, and the veteran felt as if he hadn't, nobody in the community, cared, and the veterans had nowhere to go here in our community. And so I shared with him that we have quite a few veterans, and that we have, it would be good that they all know, who they are, and hopefully this will be a way to possibly bring them together as well. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You've got before us, this is regarding golf carts,
Yes.
ordinance on golf carts.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And I apologize to the commission, I didn't put a briefing sheet together, but it's pretty self-explanatory where we're at. I believe you all know that the use of golf carts and the use of e-bikes and other micro-mobility devices are being used. And I say micro-mobility because that's what's being used in the Senate Bill 382. You all have a copy of that in front of you here. Commissioner DeVito had provided this to me, I believe it was yesterday or this morning. I wanted to make sure everybody had a copy of that. There's some discussion right now providing the requirements for operation of electrical bicycles and prohibiting use of those electrical bicycles above certain speeds. I think it's something for our discussion today. There's also this document in front of you all, that was provided, as well. And that's also talking about the Florida e-bike laws in 2026. Currently, under section 30-48, is our operation, and I'm sorry, let me go up a little further. Article 2 in golf carts, section 30-47 has our definitions on golf carts. This is in our current ordinance. In Muni Code, section 30-48 has the operation, and then of course violation and penalties under section 30-49. You all were also given a copy of that. And today's discussion is to discuss how we can make sure that we safeguard the rights, of course, of our residents, but also have some limitations and guard safety for everybody, including themselves, moving forward.
Mayor, if I could,
Yes.
so I did a memo on this back in 2023, and then I believe we either discussed in a meeting or had a workshop, and Commissioner Burton passed out some material from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, and we have discussed several areas in which our ordinance apparently was for golf carts. E-bikes weren't under the discussion, but our ordinance is not up to date with the current statute. And also things that we either haven't done or need to do. So we've discussed that previously. And I made some notes, others may have notes, but when you look at, I think our golf cart ordinance only has 2 sections, is that right? 3048 and 3049?
3 total sections: definitions, operation, and the violations and penalties
Oh,
section.
right, there's
That's 47,
Okay.
48, and 49.
Yes.
Right, so frankly, I haven't reviewed, this would be something, I guess, for our legal counsel to do. I haven't reviewed whether our definition of golf cart still matches with the state statute definition. But I'm pretty sure that there's updated state statute on who can operate a golf cart, and that it's not just anyone 14 years and older. So we probably want to update that. Okay, liability insurance. We've said that, well, this is one concern I have. It says we don't allow item 3048, paren 3, says you can't operate a golf cart on Highway 17, but golf carts can cross where authorized and posted by the State Department of Transportation. To my knowledge, I don't know if we ever got that authorization, but it's not posted.
No, there's no
Is there?
golf cart crossing sign, it's,
Really?
yeah.
How long has it been there?
Southbound. It's right in front of the annex.
Yeah, Commissioner Burton you worked on this extensively with highway safety.
I did.
So
They've,
you can cross, I believe,
At the light.
at the light.
Yeah.
Major, can you weigh in on this and help us a little bit?
The only one that I'm aware of is the one up north here. I haven't seen the one down south anywhere, unless there's another one that I've seen
okay, so,
right there right near the post office.
Is that where it is?
I thought that's what it was. I thought that was a golf cart crossing sign there. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Is one there?
I don't know,
Maybe
I
it's
don't think
mistaken.
so. I know there's one right here in front of the annex, so as you're approaching southbound, it shows a golf cart.
You can cross the
Certifying
light.
the light. The light is, yes. The traffic light
We
is
could
legal.
always cross at the light,
Yeah.
Right.
always.
And then
Well, that was the
we can-
only place we
right.
could cross.
right, so,
So unless they've opened it up or put some new signs somewhere, I'm just.
I heard you say something about the liability insurance. I missed that. Do they require they carry liability insurance on
Yes, they do. That's what it
Our
says.
ordinance our ordinance is requiring that, that we carry liability, or that whoever's driving it carries liability insurance.
Because and this is a personal matter, but I inquired on getting one of the street legal ones that actually put the tag and everything, like, there's no way I would pay that kind of insurance money for
Yeah.
to be able to operate a golf cart on the roadway. It is very expensive.
Oh, okay, but that's very important because, I looked into this and the highway safety and motor vehicle, documents that Commissioner Burton passed out. When golf cart, I believe, means golf cart, which is not a street legal vehicle. And so because street legal, actually, the technical term is low-speed vehicle. A golf cart is not a low-speed vehicle, correct?
Well, no, a golf cart can be a low speed. vehicle.
Mine is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I have a new golf cart and I can drive it at 9 miles an hour. Yeah, click for that. Or I can drive it at 26 miles an hour.
Okay, well, all I know
So,
is,
so I have, wherever you are, you can
okay,
make some adjustments, I guess.
the last I saw in highway safety and motor vehicle definitions and documents, your street legal, they were calling low-speed vehicle, that's the one where you have to have tag, and maybe your insurance is different for what's called golf cart, which is what our ordinance addresses. Because if you're street legal, you're street legal.
And the golf carts are the same way, you can actually get insurance on it, but when you
Right.
put it on, when you tell them that you're going to be operating on a roadway.
Right.
That's when it becomes
Right.
extremely expensive to operate these things, and that's why I was deferred away from.
Right, but that's why you want a golf cart. That is why communities have these ordinances that allow the, the golf, what is technically defined as a golf cart, which don't need a tag, and your insurance is less.
If you
Well,
put
you
it
know-
on, if you put it on the roadway,
Right.
even though you're on a low-speed vehicle, when your insurance, you tell your insurance company that it's gonna be put on the roadway.
Right.
That it is gonna be used on a roadway, that is not the cheap insurance. The insurance you're speaking of is like if you're keeping it on your own property. When you tell them that you're gonna be driving it on the roadway, that's what I wanna get a definition on, because if I encounter someone and I ask for their insurance on their golf cart because they have, let's say they ran a stop sign, they committed a traffic violation, and they show me that they have an insurance policy that is for private property, that's not private property, unless you guys are gonna deem some type of an exception there that they have some kind of different insurance, because that's a totally different insurance. And that's just one of the things I went into when I went to purchase myself, and that's when I went on to looking at some of these communities that have some of these ordinances in place that you can operate them on. I know the county just passed an area on Horse Landing where we just had a fatality
Yes.
about a month ago with a golf cart. Yes, and, it was just, just months after we just enacted that golf cart community per se, that they were gonna do it. But if I'm not mistaken, that ordinance also said they had to have liability insurance. That's when I started looking into liability insurance. When you put it on a roadway where vehicles travel, it's extremely expensive, so there's a different type of insurance.
Now, one of the major places where golf carts are used are the villages. I mean, they go everywhere in the villages, but they actually have their own little roadways for the most part, and they cross the main intersections where they should, kind of like where we would cross at the light. And that's just like a totally different little world over there,
They have overpasses and underpasses, yeah.
What's that?
They have underpasses,
Oh, yeah,
highways and.
And this is probably a question for you, as I'm just looking out for the city aspect.
Yes.
This one's, if I stop someone and I see that they don't have this insurance that they are supposed to have, this certain coverage, I guess that would be a question you would probably refer to your legal counsel for, so if they're riding around with this different insurance and they get into an accident, could you guys be held responsible by not requiring you to carry a certain insurance?
And the other thing is, Crescent City is 25 miles an hour, through the city, correct?
The side of it.
Yes, unless
There's side
you're on 17.
On the side, right, on the side roads, I mean, that's really low speed. That would be a golf cart kind of speed, okay, 25 miles an hour. And I think you can get up to 35 miles an hour on a golf cart, it's about as fast as you can go. But no, not even, no.
Now, the street legal ones, they're getting up to 62 and 70.
Yeah, see that, see now.
And now, that's just the ones that you want to put on the street.
Yes.
You don't have to. And again, I've done a lot of research on these things just because we're having some of those problems.
Right.
These companies are starting to build these very high performance motors for these things and stuff, and people are using them.
Yeah.
And what actually got me started on this was, I was up in Jacksonville about 3 months ago, and I'm driving down the road in a 45-mile-per-hour zone, and one of these things passed me, and I was like,
Just-
this is interesting.
Yeah.
And, it's literally just that, you put a different program on it, and that electric motor will do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't think that's gonna happen for the city, just like any other thing, you can insure anything you want to, if you approve, the scooters and stuff on the streets and things like that. If you're required to carry insurance on, you gotta be careful in your age limits. Commissioner DeVito was very keen to see that, because 14 years old, allowing someone to drive on these low-speed vehicles, in my opinion, for the city is something of a liability.
I'm not positive, but I think Major Usry is interchanging terms that should not be interchanged. Our ordinance speaks to golf carts, that's in definition. Our ordinance does not speak to low-speed vehicles. Our ordinance says, Mayor, do you mind if I do this, because it might shorten this discussion a little bit? Our ordinance says golf cart, as defined by Florida statute 320.01(22), means a motorized vehicle designed and manufactured for operation on a golf course for sporting or recreational purposes and is not capable of exceeding speeds of 20 miles per hour. So this is our ordinance. We are exercising, as I understand it, the legislature's permission for us to allow golf carts that don't exceed 20 miles an hour to operate in certain areas.
And that was the only thing I was trying to point out, was the insurance part of it, depending on what kind of requirements you're having. If you're carrying insurance or a golf cart defined by Florida statute and you're operating it on a roadway, there are different types of insurance. If you're operating it on a roadway, it is a very, very expensive insurance. So I just want to understand where I'm looking at.
The ramifications of what we're.
Insurance can be insurance. I could do a $2 policy on it, or I could do what mine was quoted at $2,200 policy. There's no way I would pay that to be able to operate on a roadway.
Well, and the major brings up another good topic though, is that people are, and I see them in front of mine because they're always looking at the peacocks. So I get them all afternoon. There are all different types.
Yep.
There's your golf cart like mine that really will not go up to 20 miles an hour.
She actually uses her feet.
And then there are those that, are zooming down the road that are the high-powered ones that are on the street, and they are performing as if they're just driving a golf.
We've never had an issue, but just this year, one of the things I seen was, when they started renting
Yes.
all these golf carts on the side of the road for these events, and that's where it's only gonna get bigger. They rented those things out within about 45 minutes of pulling up.
That
And that was
catfish
40
they
Yes, and that was 40 golf carts, so I can only see if they made it but they sold out that fast, they're probably gonna multiply. So that's kind of one of the questions I wanted to ask, is when we have these events, these things like this, what I'm looking for, what I can enforce and what I can't.
Okay, we've gotten various issues that we're gonna have to probably talk about. Yes, Commissioner DeVito.
Okay, but it seems to me we're trying to amend our ordinance to suit the city. I think what the major needs to do is either ask his attorney or our attorney about all these different kinds of vehicles, because if it is a vehicle that does not fit this definition of golf cart, then that's not what we're talking about today. And as a commission, we can't really advise you, if there's a vehicle out there that'll go 35 miles an hour and it doesn't have a tag or what kind of insurance, that doesn't come within our golf cart ordinance, within what the state is allowing us to do. We're just setting the parameters for people to use these little vehicles that they're originally meant for golf courses or recreational purposes, and there's a limited window for us to allow them to be on the streets. That's what we're trying to address.
And I understand what you're saying,
Right.
but this was written quite a while ago, and we now currently are dealing with golf carts that are souped up and bigger and better, but.
I can deal with that.
Okay.
The only thing I'm talking about is the insurance on
Mayor,
any of them.
yes.
Mayor, the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the state statutes deal with those other vehicles. I don't think that the authorization, this chapter 316, 212, that allows local governments to let golf carts, which are very specifically defined to be on roadways, they don't deal with those bigger souped up vehicles. That, I believe, and this is why I want Major Ussery to check, those are highway safety and motor vehicle issues. Those
Yes,
are
I'm only
traffic
speaking-
issues.
Yes, I'm only speaking of the golf cart that goes 9 miles an hour. That's what I'm speaking of.
Okay, so you want to know what kind of insurance it's
No, I
supposed to
said
have?
when you guys are regulating, you said they're supposed to carry liability insurance.
Yeah.
If they carry liability insurance and they tell their insurance company that this low-speed 9-mile-per-hour vehicle is going to be operated on a roadway approved by the city commission or the city of Crescent City, they have to carry a certain kind of insurance to operate that on the roadway, or they're in violation of Florida statute. And that insurance, just so we're all aware, is extremely expensive.
Okay.
So if I
So
stop-
basically, all of us that do not have insurance right now on our little 9-mile-per-hour golf carts need to go get it. That's what he's saying.
Okay, but
Again, it's just like, I don't know how to say it, but if you were to get stopped
right,
and we were to say, hey, can I see your insurance for your thing? And your insurance is not the policy that covers for you to be operating this on a roadway, you can't have your golf cart on the roadway, even though you have enacted this policy that allows you to do that in the city of Crescent City, but you have that stipulation on the insurance on that you have to carry the insurance. If the insurance isn't on there, I can care less. I'm just looking out for.
no,
That is part of our ordinance, is that you have to have liability insurance, so.
Okay,
But
perfect.
maybe it shouldn't be.
I think it absolutely should be.
well, I am not so sure that
Yeah.
that insurance is that expensive because I have insurance, it's not in the amount you said it was, and I was very clear with my agent what that golf cart was going to be used for. Very clear.
Okay.
And then those very fast ones, though, those have to have a license, like, right?
Yes,
Oh, I mean, if you have a golf cart community, you don't go, if mine goes 60 miles, I'm just using a number here. If mine goes 60 miles an hour and I stay at 20 miles an hour, I'm perfect. I can care
Oh,
less.
but our little
No, no, no,
ordinance
no,
says
no,
you-
no,
you
But if I see you ripping
can't
through
go
the
over
city,
20.
yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly.
Yeah.
wait a minute. There's, that didn't sound right to me. When
Okay.
you said, it's not, according to our ordinance, it's not how fast you drive it, it's how fast it can go and what it's intended for. And I'm really, I think we're suffering that we do not have the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicle handout that we had at the last workshop that Commissioner Burton brought us, because it's very clear about that. It's not, when I'm looking at our ordinance and it was enacted to track state law at that time, it's not how fast you drive it, it's what your vehicle is designed for. So I think that's a
So
very
I think we're getting all
important
kinds of
distinction.
confused.
Yeah, I'm-
Because,
I was just
because,
literally just
up
talking
here,
about
you're
the.
defining in Crescent City, we only want golf carts that go 20 miles an hour. Is that correct? Is that what I'm reading?
If that's what you guys, yes, and if you guys want me to enforce them
That's
having
what I'm
insurance,
trying to
if
read.
you guys want me to have to enforce insurance on them, I just want to make sure we're enforcing insurance that covers them on the roadways of Crescent City, that's all.
And that's what our ordinance currently says, you have to have liability insurance, so if they don't have insurance,
You know, his little scooter here does, what, 6 miles an hour?
6.2. I have insurance.
And then the scooter that we call Cadillac Man in town is he's on the sidewalk going up beside you while you're going on the road.
I wish mine would go faster, I don't know, because we're here at my house, it takes too long.
But anyway, not to, you know.
Well,
So what do we want to do with this golf cart
Well, we need
ordinance?
to
I think you
update it
might
so that it
wanna,
meets, so that it is,
So that it mirrors state law, so that so at least it,
okay,
but also at the same time, Leo, correct me if I'm wrong. We can't weaken state law, however, if we need to, for our purposes, we can strengthen it,
restricted a little bit.
restrict it, exactly. So that's why I'm saying, with those that can go, those souped up, do we need to have something in here for that as well? That, because I know it used to be that you couldn't even drive a golf cart on a road that was over 25, this is years ago, over 25 mile per hour speed limit. So I'm just, we're gonna need some guidance, Leo, from, I believe, you and Dawn as to what we should and shouldn't do with these golf carts. And there's more and more golf carts.
Yeah.
And this past weekend, people were even bringing their golf carts in. And then we've got side-by-sides, which are, my understanding, those are still absolutely not allowed, correct, Major? Side-by-sides.
They're not allowed, we do tolerate some of them if they're being,
Okay.
and then some of these other, and some of these that are, even the golf carts and stuff like that, we know they get faster than 20 miles an hour. Especially these newer golf carts, they have things you can turn up, they're even taking golf carts now that do the less than 20 miles an hour, because that's what they were designed to do, made to do a certain speed, and they just put a new controller and engine on it, and now they've done 3 times the speed, but they're made to do 20. So, we're gonna force, if it's going over 20 miles an hour, we can force that, it's obviously a violation of this. I was just looking more on the lines of these people coming in and bringing all these golf carts in. Like I said, we tolerate side-by-sides, I even tolerate ATVs on the road, they're going slow, they're adults, and they're not making any kind of ruckus. It's one of those colors of the law and the letter of the law. It says we can do something, hey, take your, go home. You're not supposed to do on the road.
Commissioner Moore, I just want to, she had to go take care of, picking someone up that had to be picked up at a certain time, and then she's going to return it if we're still in session.
And I'm gonna have to leave in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm about to do it.
I'm sure that's clarified, I think.
So,
Mayor, I have something I would like to see us do.
Commissioner DeVito, go right ahead.
Okay, so if the statute hasn't changed, it was my understanding, and I think Commissioner Lori looked this up, it's in our minutes somewhere what we wanted to do. We got sidetracked here. As far as I know, the current statute, which is 316-212, (7), says that a golf cart can't be operated on public roads or streets by a person who's under 18 years of age, or they have to be 18 years or older, unless you have a valid learner's permit or valid driver's license. And then whatever it is, we need to make it the same as current state law. And apparently you're supposed to basically, if you're 18, you have to have photo identification, right?
Yes.
And if you're under 18, you have to have a learner's permit or a driver's license. So I would assume we would want to track state law.
Well, we
So-
must track state law.
Right, so to me, we need to have an ordinance. We need to change our 30-8(1), where it says 14 years or older, and it should comply with state law.
Okay, so how would we phrase that?
Well, that's not our job, that's hopefully our attorney will draft this ordinance and we'll make it comply with state law.
Sorry. It would be under one where it says any person under the age of 14 years may not operate golf carts on city streets. And that's where that language, the requirements would be. And that would be from the statute as statutorily directed.
The last statute I saw was 316-212-7, but I didn't look up the 2025 version. I don't think we need to change anything about liability insurance, but again, it would not hurt to have the city attorney double check and make sure that that part is up to date. And then I'm not clear, because we got on a different topic, paren 3 says you can't operate the golf cart on Highway 17, and I think that's state law. But it's permitted to cross where authorized and posted by DOT. So I wasn't clear exactly from what Commissioner Burton said. Since you contacted DOT, did they give us a new authorization or did we have an existing authorization?
When I was working it, I never got authorization, so I'm not sure wherever we got the authorization from.
But there's a sign.
There's a
Not that I'm
sign
aware of.
approaching this traffic light.
Now, if somebody just hung a
Traffic light.
sign up, and it's not DOT regulated,
It's a DOT sign, I'm just saying that. I never thought there were signs before, but I saw that one in front of, it's right in front of the annex. So it's traveling southbound on 17.
But,
I mean, where did we grab it from and then put it over here?
well, we wouldn't necessarily do that, I guess.
DOT has to.
So that's what
So,
it kind of sounds like.
We just need to identify wherever it is, wherever it's identified and posted is what we would have. Because the people down at Winn-Dixie, across the street, at the same time you were dealing with
Yes.
them, they were dealing with them, they did not get that approved, and they cross over. So, I mean,
I just find it funny that all of a sudden we have a sign there, and it would seem to me that FDOT would have made us aware that they were going to put a sign there. That's all I'm saying.
okay, so my question is, through our city manager, can we verify with DOT where our authorized crossings are? And if they haven't authorized us to cross at the stoplight, which I dearly hope they have, can we get that? And do we want to ask DOT for any other authorized crossings that we could post?
but I don't know that for this policy,
Right.
that we need to have that to be that specific. It just needs to be, just like it currently says, to cross where authorized and posted by the State Department of Transportation.
Okay,
To tell them Malacca has.
Because it could,
right,
It does say that
okay,
it's where
so-
they're allowed to cross.
right, but I'm saying as a follow-up, wherever. Okay, so the next one, they're not permitted to operate on 308 unless we designate locations and sign locations. And this is the issue that I brought up before. To my knowledge, have we designated any locations?
No.
Yeah. Because I think, and this is a question for our city attorney, if we're going to designate locations, do we need to do that in our ordinance, or can we do that by a resolution?
So,
Might as well put in the ordinance.
But,
Might as well put in the ordinance.
Yeah, just one document.
Lena,
Have it
you're
in
not
one
talking
document.
into your mic.
So you might as well just put in the ordinance, the existing one.
I mean, I don't have any
That way you
objection.
only have one document.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any objection to that. But as far as, I have never seen a sign anywhere on the
There's not
freeway.
one, there's
Okay.
not one.
So if we're gonna, and
And we'd have to go to the county to get the county's permission
mhm.
to, I believe, and that was, because Willaca has run into that same issue. And so I believe you would have to go to the county and get the county's permission for where we could have any crossings, or if we had any designated areas. That was my understanding from previous discussions.
Mhm.
We'll have to just verify that, Leo, if you would. Is that your discussion, your understanding too,
Yes.
Commissioner Burton?
because on 308, you know, there's a section, okay, between, Grand Rondo and,
Bay? Rocket? Or,
well, right in
East.
that area, okay, where the restaurant is right there. Everybody, there's a section right there where everybody uses that.
yes.
Yeah.
For golf carts, bikes, yeah, you know, you name it, because there's a wide section there that's kind of open. And they've taken that over. I'm one person that drives right there too.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to ride my car, but that is a perfect place to designate that as a definite golf little.
And coming out of there, especially those people that live up in there, they don't have, there's not a crossroad there for them to come across, so they would have to come across. We have a resident that has had an issue, he got stopped, but he crosses over there, comes down and then hits Grand Rondo.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, because there's not a crossroad there for him to come. so from where he lives, so he would have to go
But
further
I
out.
mean, most people are polite enough about it, but let one person get hit by a car there and then we're in a mess,
Right.
basically.
Mayor, if I could, one of my concerns previously was, if we don't officially create crossings on 308, then if you don't have a tagged vehicle, then there's basically places that you really shouldn't be going.
Right.
So to me, and you don't want people, as Commissioner Burton was saying, to get into a liability problem because they've crossed 308. I think we need to find those places and get approval to designate them.
Well, yes. I
Right.
mean, absolutely, that's what we're saying, though, right now, we don't have those places.
Right.
Nothing is specifically designated.
Right, so are we going to,
So we would
Ask
need to do that, so we need to ask the county.
right, but to me, we need a place for people in Commissioner Lori's neighborhood, which applies to me if I want to go to the Dollar General or Winn-Dixie or wherever. I need a place to cross 308, and really, you need a place that's either Walnut or Oakwood, and then you also need to be able to cross where the Circle K is, I think. Because you need a way to get to that access road that goes in front of Dollar General and the real estate office.
So we need to talk to the county and see if we can
Yeah.
get that corridor and also crossing on 308.
And I do want to share this, though, is that as you come up 308 and you're coming to Summit Street, you have a wide area as you go west on 308. As you come up there, it's very narrow. So you're really having to be in the road.
Yes.
That is such a congested area that for a golf cart, to me, it's very dangerous right there.
But the place to actually cross, if you wanna get over there,
To Dollar General.
is right at the Dollar General, so you coming up, let's say, North Prospect, and going up, what is that, road, I can't think of, Outlook?
Lakeview,
Lakeview.
so you come up Lakeview, that's how
Lakeview, and
that's how I
where
have
you
done
would
it.
cross
But she's talking about people that
17
live where I live.
and go over to the Winn-Dixie.
So
Okay.
where I live on Magnolia, I have to go all the way down to the stoplight here, go across, go all the way
Well,
across.
that's been the problem though, and that's what everybody
People aren't
complained
confused.
about.
Okay, but wait a minute, may I ask Commissioner Burton,
Mhm.
is, you're talking about someone on Prospect crossing over 17 to go to Dollar General,
Mhm.
but DOT has not authorized their crossing there, correct? For golf carts?
They haven't authorized a crossing anywhere but the light.
Okay, so we can't legally give an option to people to go around on Prospect and cross 17.
Well, no, but we're just talking amongst ourselves, that these are, you're trying to look for places to cross.
Yes,
Then you need to kind of come up with, and it's just like, Michelle had, the mayor has said that, you have to kind of go up, to Walnut Street. So you're coming off of Oakwood or whatever that is, and then you have to go up to Walnut Street, because it gets really, really narrow on 309, right there before.
In
You
308.
just take a ride and.
I know,
well,
I've looked at it.
Like you say, to cross over, 308, to get to that side, you really kind of can't cross over and then ride up
Right.
308 to make that turn. So you just really have to take a drive and figure out, which way you want to do that. But I would like to see some stoplights, okay, where you actually could stop and some pedestrian crosses in between the stoplights where you could actually push a button and go across the street. I mean, why not?
Okay, but
yeah.
to me, it seems like our ordinance needs to be updated. We certainly need to correct the age. We should do what we can do, which one of them, I think, is pursuing with the county, bless you, wherever we can cross. The other options that we talked about, our ordinance in paren 5 says that golf carts can only be used between sunrise and sunset. I believe state law allows them to be used, if they have lights.
Properly working lights.
Right, and to me, I think that we should change that and allow people to use golf cart at night if they have the lights, because in the winter especially, right, you can't really go anywhere in the evening, you can't go to Three Bananas. So, okay, so we're together on sunrise and sunset. Unless, number 6, I don't know, if state law has changed, that just says you have to have the basic equipment.
Yeah, that's.
I don't see anything in there.
So,
But I do see something in, I'm not sure. I think that we could authorize golf carts to use sidewalks in some areas. I don't know.
You could use, it's wide enough down on the south end of town, on Summit.
5 feet.
Yeah, so, and then on
The
the
sidewalks that are along the state
north end,
highway system.
yeah, and on the northeast, on the north end of town.
Here it is.
It is what it is.
Am I allowed to speak?
Yes, absolutely,
The, you do want to operate them at nighttime?
as long as they have proper lights.
Lighting.
Sometimes we get caught at night,
That's when they get
saying,
stolen,
that's when they get what?
stolen. And if they are obeying the traffic laws, and I have no reason to stop them at night, if I have a stolen golf cart that I don't know is stolen, and they're just driving down the road, I have to let them go unless they commit a traffic violation.
Well, what's, Mayor, if I could, truly, I don't know what to do about that, but people like to use their golf carts to go, like, for example, in the winter, I would like to go to dinner, I would like to go visit a friend, I'd like to be able to go to the Rotary meeting at the Methodist Church, but I can't because the Rotary meeting at the Methodist Church gets out after dark in the winter. So it's not legal. I think you raised a good point.
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock?
I mean, it's done at 7, but during the winter storm.
So,
So you're saying to put a time limit, that anything after
that's-
10 o'clock, that no golf carts after 10 o'clock in the evening?
I'm just using them, I'm looking at it from our aspect, because if you allow them to go past this ordinance, they're going to go past this ordinance, and it could be 2 o'clock in the morning, we see your golf cart going down the road, and we really can't approach well. I'm just,
So it gives you an opportunity that after a certain time that you can stop that golf cart and find out what's going on
I
with
would
it, is
rather
what
use
you're
golf
saying.
carts, not just, and here's the thing, is it's not really for the regular, everyday thing, and is this gonna happen, but what I foresee is, again, and we use Catfish Festival as an example, you have these golf carts out here, and they knew to have those golf carts back by dusk. That was a firm statement by us. They had them back by dusk like they were supposed to. If they're allowed to stay out at night, all those cars in Crescent City, all that congestion, we just may have to make an exception. Do we make an exception on those, I'm sorry, do we make an exception that on those events, dusk to dark, or how do we do those type of things?
Mayor, I don't know what Captain Major Usry is describing. I totally don't know what's going on here.
Because I'll tell you what's going on here
Okay.
is during Catfish, a hauler came in here and he dropped off how many golf carts?
40.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
40 golf carts to people.
And they
And so
weren't 9
up
mile per hour golf
And
carts.
up and down Main Street, there were golf carts
They were
everywhere. There were golf carts back over here at Catfish, and they were down that, let me finish.
I know,
Let
but
you talk. They were down here, all back over here too, on 308.
Going burning.
So they were all over town, and so that's what he's saying is, what kind of mechanism can we put in place to help to assist him?
Those golf carts, they scared me, with that many of them being out at night, and the way normally a lot of people drive during that after party during Catfish, when we start getting everybody out here, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, that's all.
And
Mayor,
then
I
some
have,
people that normally operate in the golf.
And then there are people that normally don't operate. Yes, Commissioner DeVito.
I have a foundational question. the person who dropped off those golf carts, was he renting them to different people? Did he have a business tax license to do business in the city of Crescent City?
I'm not sure of that.
We do not know that. It was something that was brought up, but we don't have.
And it was Saturday.
He did it on a Saturday,
Yeah,
and
we don't
you know,
believe
that's
so.
hard to, I mean, that's hard to
Okay,
enforce,
so
but
to me, that's the foundational thing. Secondly, did those people have insurance for those golf carts?
He does. If he rents it.
Commissioner, here's the meat and potatoes.
Okay,
If I see somebody out at night and they're driving a golf cart and you're coming home from somewhere,
Right.
I'm gonna probably stop and say, Commissioner DeVito, you headed home, right? Yes, I'm headed home. Okay, thank you.
Right.
And then you're headed home because it's done. Those very small events happen like that. That just something is chilling about operating these things at night. Because when you say at night, I understand the person, we all understand the person who's going and doing whatever, but if we're opening things up at night, I just feel like, and I look at myself as a golf cart owner, and I don't know how all the lights, when you say street legal lights and stuff like this, I don't know how the lights, because it's lower to the ground, they're smaller, it's almost like a motorcycle at night. You don't see a lot of people driving at night just because they're a different vehicle on the roadway. And I would caution you to have those things out, and let's just say 2 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. There's just something don't feel right about the golf carts being out there.
okay,
They are slower moving, they're crossing main intersections and stuff, and when people come up on you, they're not seeing your lights. And
okay, well, Commissioners, it sounds like Major Ussery is saying he wants us to put a cap on it,
time.
a time, but I will say, Major, golf carts on the roadway, we have a lot of people driving bicycles after dark with no lights at all,
and we stop those people.
nothing. Well, I'm just saying
Right,
that's
right.
a hazard. So I don't know, would 10 or 11 o'clock work? Because there's not much open after 10 or 11.
The only thing, and you're right, and I will be honest with you, I've gotten myself in a situation, because when we're out working an event, and usually, you know, we don't leave an event we're not supposed to leave an event until an event is completely cleaned up, everything's off the street, it's done, and everybody's gone home. And oftentimes, especially let's take red, white, and boom, for example. I'm on my golf cart because you can't get around,
Right.
you have to come up here for plunge or whatever. I'm down there making sure that everything is, if anybody needs us for any reason, and then I've gotten caught where it's dark, it's very dark, and I'm trying to get home, and that's always been a concern of mine, is now I'm driving the golf cart home, now I have lights on it, goes slow, but it does have lights. How would we deal with something like that?
Everything that I've ever seen, or anybody that I've seen that has had a golf cart community
Yeah.
has been from dusk to dawn to dusk, whatever the case may be. So this is a new thing that
It was,
it
when we
it's
first passed
something
this,
brand new, like I said, and these golf carts being out in the dark, it's just like motorcycles, they just don't look out for these things.
Right, and you know, it's really kind of, you know, dusk to dawn, and a lot of the golf communities, golf cart communities, they're kind of enclosed, they're their own,
Yeah, they're
they're
protected.
really their own little
They're
community,
protected.
period. And so, you know, I can remember going down and playing golf with my mom at fairways, and, you know, going out, karaoke, whatever, okay, coming home. But it's a very closed community, so you bring your golf club home to go to bed. The next morning, when I got back up to go to St. Petersburg, I saw so many golf carts, we were so drunk, that were, you know, in the water. I mean, that, all these people were crazy, but that's the only way they got around in that community.
Again, you know, it's one of those things where you notice
Yeah.
it's dark, you're on your way home, and I think it opens it up, if you stay out at night, they're gonna stay out a little bit longer at night, and let's be honest, yes, there's designated golf cart crossings. Let's say we put them at every intersection, or the limited intersections, they're going to go home.
Yeah.
And when it's daytime, you can see these things, when it's nighttime, you can't, and if you put more golf carts out at night, I just have my feeling on it is, you're asking for
This is a hard community to close it out,
Yeah.
you know, where you can close it up and kind of control it to a point where, for the most part, if it's any, if there's gonna be any accidents, especially at night, when you golf carts. But, you see what I mean?
17 is, yeah, there's 100,000 cars that come through this.
I know, it,
section.
and that's one thing that hurts Crescent City, is this highway that goes straight through it. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, that we can't quite be the same as,
I'm all for the golf carts, I just,
yeah.
So if we
I
put a
would-
time, if we put a time on it, because dusk is, and then it's an interpretation of whose interpretation of what time dusk is.
I think, Mayor, that if you were going home and it was dark and he saw you,
Yeah.
and he knew that you were working up at the park.
Yeah.
And I know where you're gonna cross over, I know where I'm gonna cross over at
Yeah.
night, I'm right here at the light. That's where I'm gonna cross over to go home, no matter where I am in town.
I'll kind of say it like this is your decision for you. You know what your people want in your community. I'm trying to give you my personal opinion. If this was blistering times, I'd say ride them all night long.
Yeah,
Well,
If this was Fruitland Park, I would say ride them all night
But
long.
here, it's tough,
yeah.
you can't do it
You don't
here.
have 3 crossings on.
So, yes, Commissioner Lori.
According to state law, we can't, change that. Because this says in here that a golf cart may be operated only during the hours between sunrise and sunset unless the responsible government entity has determined that a golf cart can be operated during the hours between sunset and sunrise, and the golf cart is equipped with headlights, brake lights, turn signals, and windshield. But then you go down here a little further and it says that we can't make it more restrictive than what the state says. A golf cart operation and equipment which is more restrictive than those enumerated in this section. A local government entity may enact, okay, so we can do it more restrictive, I'm sorry, I read it wrong.
Yeah,
But
so
I think that Leo needs to help us and figure out if we can.
that's what I said, okay.
Yeah, and so if we then set it at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Yeah.
I mean, there's no
nothing
reason
else
for
is
you to be out
open
after 10 o'clock, there's
What
nobody out on
open?
17 after 10
After
o'clock.
10.
Well,
Nothing in town except for during special events.
You and I were out after 10 doing trash.
Yes.
Okay, you had to pick me up, so I mean, there are times that it's needed.
Okay, so why don't we just do that? Put it.
I like 10 o'clock, that works.
I mean,
Okay.
And that's only if you
Yeah.
have,
Okay, everybody's talking over everybody and we've got difficulties with this, so one person at a time, so, but before we decide that it's 10 o'clock, Major Usry, how are you if we were to set a 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, what would your preference be from a law enforcement standpoint?
I don't like them out after dark. But that's me trying to be super safe and make sure the darker it is, and I don't know how many golf carts we're talking about. But after dark, the more golf carts you have, the more chance you have for that person not being seen crossing at whatever intersection. And for me personally, I'm just looking out for the safety aspect of it. It seems more, if I knew I was gonna be out past dark, I would get in my car and go somewhere. And I have a golf cart myself, so it's the smaller kind. I was looking at getting another one, but I would get in my car and I would drive somewhere just because I know that if somebody hits me at 35 miles an hour, it's probably gonna kill me. That's just my personal opinion. I would stay with what statute says, and that's dusk to dawn. But you guys can do whatever you like.
Okay, Mayor,
Yes.
if I could. The statute says that we may authorize people to be on the roadways after dark.
if they have headlights,
Right.
turn signals and brake lights.
Right, which is the standard equipment that is required in our ordinance.
Well, then, you don't have to have headlights.
Pardon?
You don't have to have headlights.
Okay, well,
Just
then
go
we
turn
should
it.
say if they're gonna be out after dark, then they have to have headlights,
Turn lights and stop lights. So,
brakes,
lights.
brake lights. Okay, so add the brakes, I was gonna just cover the, okay, so they have to have the required equipment. My concern is Major Usry is saying he doesn't want the golf carts out after dark, but the bottom line is people in this community want to use their golf carts to go do things and to go to dinner, and they use them for that purpose. I think it makes more sense, certainly for their liability insurance. I would hate to see somebody have an issue being able to recover on their insurance or whatever, because our ordinance says you're not supposed to be out after dark and they're coming back from 3 Bananas. I would like to go ahead, and obviously, this is gonna be a draft ordinance, we're gonna have to advertise it, we're gonna have to bring it up. If the general public thinks that it's too dangerous and they want to crack down on this, then they can say so. But I would like us to have a draft ordinance that says, with the proper safety equipment required by state law, that you can have your golf cart out until 10 o'clock at night. That would allow, hopefully, people to get back from restaurants. Isn't Bell's Bistro open until 9 on the weekends? Because people are doing so now.
Right.
And I just think it's unreasonable of us, when state law does allow it, to not give that authorization. People cross the highway on foot after dark, and it's very well lighted there. So if you're crossing at the light and it's well lighted.
Okay, so let's take that, Leo, did you take that under, and look at that?
Taking notes.
The only concern I would have with that is the Florida statute says on to dusk, and if we go later than dusk, is that lessening?
No,
They
no,
love,
ready to go, and then we'll.
But I want him to look at that, just to make sure that by saying, well, we can go later than dusk, that's not lessening, but that's actually strengthening, and within our confines of what we're allowed to do, if you would, okay? So at 10 o'clock, so is that what you're saying, is 10 o'clock?
I'm saying 10 o'clock.
And
But you have to have headlights, brake lights, and turn lights.
And you must have.
And a windshield.
If Major Usher's talking about dark, of course, you have difference in seasons.
Oh, yeah, it's
So
not,
maybe
it's
if
not,
you wanna specify a time, maybe
It's
the
actually
time is different in summer versus winter. I mean, you could do something like that.
And we've had
Right
that
now it
discussion
says-
with our parks.
That
Right now,
doesn't make any sense at all.
right now
If
it's
dark,
a sunrise, well, it's a sunrise to sunset.
Dark's dark, but in the winter time, it gets dark.
But people are people, and, you know, even though your golf carts are equipped, my golf cart's equipped, there's a lot that are not equipped.
Okay, so they can't be out after dark.
But what I'm saying, they will be out
Okay,
They
so
won't
then,
be after they come over.
then they won't get pulled over.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, when Commissioner Vicky said they're doing it now, right? And they are, we know it, we tolerate it, just because we know they're
Okay,
people doing things, so anyway.
But if they're out.
But there's a lot that aren't because they know they gotta be back in by dusk, so.
Okay, but we're not
But if
we are
open
not
them-
a police state. If the statute allows it, and from what Commissioner Lori read, and I've read in the past, I think it does. And so if people have the lights and the proper equipment, I really don't see why we should tell them that they can't use their golf cart in the wintertime to go to dinner at a restaurant.
Just giving an opinion. that's
Just-
all.
Yeah, it is an opinion,
It doesn't make any
just
sense.
write it up and then we'll.
But if they're driving down the side of the road on 17,
Well,
They're
because
doing
we
a
have-
lot of stuff that we just talked, just because.
because we've
we
got
know
a new
everybody here.
restaurant, we have a new restaurant opening up.
Yep, we sure do.
And so if they're driving down the road on 17 and it's after dark,
There will be a 2-lane path, this is what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a 2-lane path that's gonna go to that, because I guess they're making,
Yeah.
putting a sidewalk in front of it.
No,
There's gonna be a 2-lane,
they don't
No,
have
They
it.
don't have to.
Okay. there's gonna be a 2-lane dirt path that goes down the side of the road to that restaurant.
I'll give you that.
That's fine.
I have my doubts that's gonna happen because there's not a lot of space on that road.
Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
let's move forward because this is,
Yes,
so with this, we need to also talk about these e-bikes and electric scooters, and I know you've got to leave. But we've got some major issues here in town now with these e-bikes, and I believe with the new language, I thought there was legislation.
It hasn't been.
It hasn't
It's
been
been
signed.
passed by the House.
It's down.
It hasn't been sent to the governor
The
yet.
governor
Right.
did.
Is that correct?
that is correct.
And there's
So as
fees
soon
and
as
stuff
he
associated
signs
with
off
that.
on that, we'll have to we'll need to address that.
And I would just say, last night we were in Palm Coast and we were in the Target parking lot, and this kid went through the parking lot so fast, we went out to the 4-lane highway there and turned around. He was already on the other side of the street, on the sidewalk, going the other way. And this was at 10 o'clock at night, like 9:30 at night. I'm like, this is like the kid was as tall as the scooter, barely. I'm like, he was maybe 11, and I'm like, where the hell is his parent? And why but he moved so fast, it was like a blur. I'm like, that's just crazy. So, I mean, these things are, I can
My
imagine,
my six
because I
year
mean-
old does 52 miles an hour.
I
There's an electric dirt bike.
I mean, going 6 miles an hour on this thing is scary sometimes.
But these
They just really move. It's
these electric bikes, they can be dangerous,
Yeah.
especially in and out of traffic.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know how they
we
keep that
need to
across.
look at what we can do with these e-bikes too.
I did include, what was recently passed in March by the city of Atlantic Beach. They're looking to harden those provisions based on the state's movement. But, that's in your packet as well.
Do you know, what is the current state of legislation about e-bikes? I mean,
Certain voltage speeds and things like that.
Yeah.
Where it's required to be, because it's starting to consider a motorcycle.
Age requirements, things of those natures.
and should we just wait and see if the governor signs this and then, I
And
mean,
then,
I feel it feels kind of funny to write something and then they're gonna change it.
yeah,
I sincerely doubt the governor is not gonna sign this.
Right.
It passed unanimously.
in the House.
We can always put a draft of it into our ordinance. If the governor for some reason vetoes it, then we'll just take it out.
So yeah.
I mean, but I haven't looked into what is already on the books. I don't know. I'm just looking at whatever this is that Atlantic Beach did.
I just-
I don't know.
Our major has to get going.
Yeah.
If you guys need to phone me or something, I'll be available. I got to pick up my son.
Sincerely
Oh,
appreciate
thank you,
you
thank
spending
you.
this time with us.
That's
Thank you.
important, thank you.
Thank you so much for all of your help, especially in security plans.
You sure you don't wanna carry those with you? I'm gonna keep them in there for your reserve, they'll be your reserve pair.
I mean, or stick them in his
You rock those, Major.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Right.
We, maybe just have our attorney put together a draft of those.
I
According to
think
the new-
that that's probably something that we need to, especially with the electric bicycles, and we've got this issue also with these little motor scooters, in town. These kids are riding these little motors, that like the mini bikes, remember back in, well, you wouldn't understand this probably, you're a little younger than us, but remember the, yes, little mini bikes that you used to, they're riding those all over town.
It wasn't that long ago. How old, I mean. it's
You know what
already-
they call them mini bikes, I don't know what they call them now.
They were
Little
little
bikes
tiny,
with
like,
fat wheels.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were so tiny, it looks like a funny, like elephant.
I love seeing the people with the electric wheelchairs
Yes.
riding up and down 17.
I don't,
The
I don't.
new Dollar General, and you know, now we're going up a little ways, right? But we're the,
That way north?
yeah, north.
Yeah.
You know, riding up and down 17 of these things, and I look at them every day, I said, why are you taking your life in your hand? But yeah, that's their only, I guess,
Well, that's their only
option,
transportation, yeah.
you know, which is hard.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
I mean, you know, we're rural, we're in the country, and it happens differently out here than it does in the city. And some of the.
Well, you don't have air transportation. here.
So I think at this point, you've heard from us, everything needs to at least mirror state law, unless you've heard from us that we want to change that, make it stronger. And so if we can get a draft proposal for us,
And the golf cart one would be an amendment. to our
yeah, it would be an
driving
amendment on the golf cart, but you can add into it, motorized, other motorized, or however you want to refer to it.
Would it be mine or?
And Mayor,
Yes.
I think it would be helpful if, our ordinance addressed allowing people to use the sidewalks that are at least 8 feet wide. This is parent 8B3, says maximum speed of 15 miles an hour. Sidewalks adjacent to highways if they're at least 8 feet wide, and we might wanna get out there and measure those and specify what some of them might be. And, pardon,
I don't think we have any, but we'll measure them, we'll measure them.
maybe the one on the east side of Summit, you were saying you thought there was a portion
And
of
one
one
on the west side of Summit
and the west side of Summit.
is larger.
Right, because this particular block is not really accessible unless you use a golf cart.
Yes.
I mean, if you're using a golf cart, then it's not accessible to your golf cart. You have to go park that somewhere. And then, Mayor, I wanted to ask you, I was not aware of the issue of dropped off golf carts. And the major expressed a concern. I thought I heard you express a concern about, I guess, rented golf carts being dropped off during events. And you felt like there were too many golf carts running about.
If you looked around and if you were out and about that evening, you would see there was a lot of golf carts that were out on the roads. And my question was, how did that happen?
2 semi trucks with 2 flats each that came around Grand Rondo area. I don't know who I called about it, but I called somebody.
I saw at least 40 of them coming down
Yeah.
308.
Okay.
40, I mean, seriously, golf carts, and I thought they were coming in from Willaca,
Yeah.
Willaca used to drive around like
But you
that.
can't drive a golf cart on 308.
But they
All the way
were,
down
they
there.
were,
But all,
They were on a flatbed,
but she's talking
I mean,
about, you
they-
can't drive it from Willaca.
yeah.
So,
oh,
and
no,
they were,
no,
they
but
came up
I'm
with
just
trucks.
saying, Willaca used to drive,
Right, yes.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
At one time, I mean, it took me from Grand Rondo East on Vernon to Grand Rondo West almost 25 minutes, and at one time, there were about 10 or 15 in front of me, in the road and on the sidewalk.
Well, that's why I
And
said-
we're not talking regular golf carts that you're gonna go,
No, they
golf
were
carts,
nice
these were
ones.
high-end golf carts.
They
Well,
were,
that's why the
Okay.
Rotarians were having such a problem bringing everything out of the park, because it's just taking them
Okay.
and that's the first time that's
round trips.
happened,
Yeah.
that we're aware of. Yes,
So-
Commissioner DeVito.
So Mayor, to me, to address that, number one, if they must be rented, whoever is renting them.
Yeah.
We've said that several times.
Okay, but you guys just said, well, we can't do anything about that. I
They
think we
didn't say
can.
that.
And I also heard there was
Nobody
a,
said that we can't do anything
That's what, I'm
about
sorry.
that.
Okay, Mayor, you don't have to get
No,
mad.
I'm
I thought I
not,
heard
I'm
you
just,
say that.
again,
Right.
it always concerns me when you
Right.
try to put words in our mouths
No, I'm
that
saying,
we did not say, because nobody said we can't do anything about that, Commissioner DeVito. So if
I'm
I'm upset, that's what I get upset about.
no, just say,
So go
I didn't
ahead.
say that.
Okay.
You get mad at me.
Well,
All right, so there's the people who are bringing them in as well. There are, if they're on the sidewalks, we really don't allow golf carts on residential sidewalks. So that's an area for law enforcement to address. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up is we're talking about golf carts that can't go over 20 miles an hour. So unless they're trailered in here, you really,
Which they were.
right, but I'm saying people cannot really drive their golf cart from one city to the other. I don't think it went through. Willaca started to have a registration system, but they didn't follow through with that, is that right?
My understanding, I think at one point that legally they weren't,
Yeah, they were.
they weren't allowed
But
to.
they
But they
used-
weren't allowed
You know, I
to
had no idea where all
They used
these golf carts were coming from. I just know they were coming down
Yes.
308, and there was
Okay,
a good 20, 25 golf carts. I
Right,
mean,
but-
all in a row.
so if they're not low-speed vehicles with tags, then it's my understanding they can't be on 308. That would be an issue to call the sheriff about, for the sheriff to address. And then I don't know if we could do this, and this would be an issue for our law firm. During special events, can we have a special event ordinance concerning golf carts, rental golf carts, use of out-of-town golf carts? I don't know, but we come up, over the years, we've come up with different situations that have to do with our special events, so maybe that is a question to answer, but I have a problem with somebody coming in and dropping off, an unspecified number of golf carts, because they must be being paid to do so.
here's the problem. You're just not gonna be able to stop it. That's the
I'm sorry?
problem. There's nothing that we can do, nothing that code enforcement can do, nothing that an ordinance can do that's going to
Okay.
stop it.
Well, wait a minute, that's a question for our city attorney, because I don't think that's necessarily true. And if somebody doesn't have a business tax license and they're operating in the city, then there should be something that we can do. They're pulling up and there must be something.
I don't disagree, language can be put out there, but what I'm saying is that at any given time, any of these events, we don't know who's coming in, who's coming out. We're talking about unsanctioned events that's happened and occurred for years, that they invite different people see it online, someone says, oh, I have an opportunity to make money. How do you tell that person? How do you control that person? Saying, no, you can't do that here. We don't have the manpower. And it doesn't matter if you write an ordinance, it doesn't mean that someone's gonna abide by it. You can write it, but people are gonna do what they wanna do. They're gonna bring in the carts and try to make some money over the weekend. It's just like, you know.
It's an enforcement, so what it comes down to, Commissioner DeVito, is it's gonna end up being, if we do something like that, and like I said, I've never seen that happen until this last time. And I'm sure they had to have liability waivers, I'm sure they had to have insurance, there was a lot of things that the company would have had to have, obviously, they're well equipped for that. The enforcement part is really more the issue, so you can put it on paper, it's enforcing it, and when you've got a group of 500, 700 people, and you're trying to control that group, that crowd, and then you've got golf carts on top of it, there's a mixture of a lot of things. It's a tough dynamic for anybody, I don't care how good you are, it's just a tough dynamic, so it's something that I think that as we go forward, if it happens, that we're gonna have to rely on our sheriff's office to advise us as to what they need us to do and what they have the capability to do to enforce whatever it is they're asking us to do.
I didn't realize that there were trucks bringing those guys in.
Yeah.
Two of them,
And I was on
multi-level.
my way somewhere else, and, you know, when I saw them, I couldn't believe they
Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
Our code officer is very good about contacting people, and it seems to me, if you have large trucks bringing in something that they're renting, somebody should be able on city staff, because we have all hands on deck at Catfish, right? To take a picture of their license plate and run down where it came from, and.
Yeah, but if you don't know where they're dropping them off, because I don't think I have any idea where
I had
those
no
came
idea.
from. Seriously, I don't know where they all came from, I just know there was a bunch of them, you know, but.
Anyway, I'm at each one of these events, and if the commission wishes for me to do something like that, I have no problem, but honestly, staff, and we are hands on deck, I wouldn't say all, but, you know, the necessary staff, but my code enforcement officer right now is at a 30-hour-a-week, and she's not here on Friday and not here on Saturday. So for me to put enforcement in there on a Saturday, it's gonna have a financial implication and other things, but we will do whatever we need to do to make sure, you know, that everything is safe and kosher, which is the most important thing. I will tell you, I asked one of the people that were on the carts how much they paid, they rented them for, and they actually had to put like almost $500 in a deposit for it. They didn't give me the rental for the day, but there was a mechanism for them contractually between them and the guy who, it was a legitimate outfit that was doing that. Apparently this company goes to large events and does that for people, and they also do scooters, which they didn't bring the scooters, but it's a statewide company.
And they're a legitimate company.
They are a legitimate company.
They weren't operating legally in our city.
If each one of those were $8,000 to $10,000, imagine the amount of money they had sitting there.
But
Okay.
next time, take a picture of the license plate.
Yeah, next time we will.
And if you can see it, I didn't see it, it was after the fact, and so if somebody has the benefit of seeing it, you know, and then all you have to do is you reach out to them, and that's what Pam would do, is you need, you know, a license, they get that on Monday morning, and then we can't, there's not a whole lot we can do at that point, so.
But you know, what I saw probably about 25 golf carts coming down through, and each one had 2 people in it. So I'm thinking there's 50 people that we're bringing into the Catfish Festival.
It wasn't,
So
a cat-
hopefully they ate a whole lot of catfish.
it wasn't the catfish festival they were here for.
What were they coming in for?
They were here for the after the catfish festival.
Well, there was a lot of people here at the Catfish too with golf carts, because I saw them back and forth on Main Street, but
Okay.
a lot of them were here
A lot of them
for, the
were
rental
over there
ones
on,
were.
yeah.
But then afterwards, yes, they were here as well, but I'm just saying that, there's a couple ways to look at it, I guess. I
I
guess
think it
I
was
looked at it
a
wrong.
mixture of both, Commissioner Roy Wilson.
Well, the mayor said she felt it was unsafe. If she didn't feel it was unsafe, I wouldn't be that concerned about it.
Well, the major, he was concerned about it.
Right.
So, and as I saw that, and people, and Commissioner Lori said it too, and just the mayor, because if you've got people on golf carts driving these golf carts and
Right.
they're not accustomed to driving a golf cart,
Or just the
And they're,
North town.
are driving
powerful
across
golf
town,
carts.
yes, and they're
Yeah.
powerful, they were more powerful golf
Right, that is
carts.
dangerous.
That can be dangerous, especially in a crowd of people and, so, anyway, I think that's something that as we go forward, we'll have to figure out how to address that. Maybe that's something that you can even, Leo.
Of course.
So with that, just a couple of things. Commissioner DeVito, it's my understanding you met with Representative Sapp yesterday?
Yes.
And how are we on our appropriations?
So the number one thing that Representative Sapp said to me was, he doesn't know where they are on the budget.
Mhm.
He doesn't know
Yes.
when they're gonna be called. He doesn't know whether whether there will be substantive negotiations. He said, we might get called in and be told, this is the budget that the leadership has agreed on. However, I looked at the budget and before I went to this meeting, and I had several things to talk about. We had one wastewater and one, water project in there.
So our Cherry Street and our North Tower second phase, are both of those in there?
Not Cherry, BJ knows, I did
It
it.
was the South
South
Water
Water Tower, Lake
and then the
Street.
wastewater, improvements, the design
Right,
parts.
Okay, that was in there, but not the Cherry
I
Street.
did not see
Not
Cherry
Cherry
Street.
Street, not North Tower Second, not any of that, it was just the
Right.
design for Lake Street and the South Water Tower,
Okay,
and design for the wastewater treatment plant,
that's all that's made it to the to the
yeah, and
next
it was,
phase.
whatever, but it was.
So the
It was
other,
small amounts.
That was very different from what you,
That's
We're
not
told.
what I heard.
But I mean, that was the Senate, that was only the Senate's draft budget that they released a month and a half ago.
And those weren't
So-
even on the top priority, those were the
I know.
last
was
priority.
he able to tell you any of
okay,
that?
hang on, let me just say what we did. So I took what I found that was in the House version of the budget.
Mhm.
I could not find a conference report, they said there is no conference report. So what I found was in the House version of the budget, and there were those two that Commissioner Lori has described, and I left my copies with them, so I brought that. Representative Sapp was there, and he had his legislative aid, so I gave those to them. As well, we have our small matching grant for the National Register nomination. They have, on the House side, they fully funded the small matching grants, and we were something like
We're halfway
19,
through.
18 or 19 on the list.
Yeah.
So I brought those three things to their attention. They said, if we are participating in negotiations, they will make their best effort to get those projects in there. They said, we just don't know what's going to happen. We may be told that those funds are wanted for something else, that's priority of leadership. But anyway, I did bring them to their attention, and I think the thing to do now is to follow up, maybe to ask the legislative aide whether she knows of anything else in the budget, and also to contact Senator Leake's office, because that's the other side.
And Senator Lee is the one that got us everything last year, and he was, remember, we met with his legislative aide, now he has Olivia, and
Right, well,
And he's part of leadership.
right,
I was gonna say he is,
He's
he
way
is
up there.
leadership.
so that's why I say, we should contact
Okay,
Senator Leake's office. The difficulty is more on the House side because they are the ones proposing, I think, 1.5 billion less
Yeah.
for the budget. they seem to think if we were in the House side, that we would be in the Senate side as well. But yes, it's, the next thing to do is to contact Senator Leak. And they don't have a date for the budget special session yet, but the sooner the better. Because Senator Leak, yes, could, he has more seniority because of his prior service.
He's the future Senate president.
It's gonna be, those two were our priorities too.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, Mr. Martin says he has a clerk, you've done clerk
Yes.
interviews and
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have a finalist
Yes,
and you wanted to bring it to the commission. Unfortunately, she can't do anything until she wants everything finalized, and we will not be meeting in another meeting
Yes.
until May unless we have a special meeting.
And I am bringing it to y'all's attention as a courtesy, I did discuss this with Dawn, feels that that is not a director position, that I could do a direct hire. It is up to you all, if you want to have a special meeting, I can bring the information, I have no problem doing that at all. Time is of the essence, I wanna make sure that I can get her, an offer,
Well, Mayor, I have a question for you.
contingent on approval.
So we tentatively, I know you spoke to the fact of maybe needing a change. I thought we tentatively set a workshop for Wednesday the 22nd on minimum maintenance standards.
Right, it was a workshop.
Right,
At
but,
the workshop.
so my question is, if the city manager has any urgent items, like for repairs or whatnot that tend to come up, or something else he wants to bring to our attention, could we have a short special meeting? Or, I don't know, I mean, to me, if we don't need to approve a hire, I'm not really sure why we would step into those waters.
And he was yesterday just he wanted me to bring that up,
Yes.
that if the commission wanted to weigh in on that, if not, if we're okay with him going ahead and doing it, then, and we've done that in the past.
Sure, and,
My opinion is that if you think that it's the right candidate, and I know you've had two really good candidates.
We've actually had,
Right.
3 real good candidates, and,
We know how important, this is very important.
and this was a staff discussion, we've had multiple meetings, and, we're ready to move forward as a team to add
My
this person
personal
to.
feelings go for it.
so, I mean, I have no problem with that. I don't, if the charter doesn't require us to
It
approve a
does not.
hire,
That does not.
then, right, then we should do so. But Mayor, I mean, I have no objection, I think it'd be nice if they want to come meet us. But are we having the workshop on the 22nd?
Well,
We are having a workshop.
we currently have the workshop on the 22nd. There's a good possibility I will not be here. If I have a family member having hip surgery, and so if I have to be with them, I'll be with them. But y'all can go forward with the minimum maintenance standards. I provided him with what came before us before, so he has that. We should be getting that out to the commission,
Yes, ma'am.
unless the commission wants to move that workshop to another day. So that's, it doesn't, I'm good with whatever you decide to do. I'm not gonna inconvenience anybody,
I mean, it's just.
because of my schedule,
I mean, it is a workshop, anything else, we're gonna have to bring it back for
right?
a vote and discussion more, so. I don't think we're gonna mess up the whole town while you're not here. For one
Right,
day.
and it's
I don't think it's
possible,
possible
To what?
to mess up everything, the whole town.
I didn't say that.
No, I know, I'm.
he's joking, he's joking, he's teasing. He's
You
saying
can trust us, you can trust me.
Well, you're not gonna make any final decisions,
I know it's a
so,
workshop, so
so
that's what I'm
it's a
saying.
workshop, and it's pretty much written as it was, before,
Right,
Right.
I
so.
mean, is there a date that's
I would like to ask the commission while we're here in a workshop, setting, how you would like me to bring to your attention the updated policy. We have routed it for staff,
the policy manual?
policy manual, yes.
You missed that word.
I'm sorry.
Well-
We have routed it to Florida Leagues of Cities. They have their specialist that's in that division looking over everything is kosher. I want to put that in and get that implemented, approved. How do you want to see it? I will send it to you all for review ahead of time. Do we want to have a workshop? Do you want me to bring it to a commission meeting? How do you want to do that, Mayor?
I think you just bring it to the May commission meeting.
Okay.
If you're ready for it, everybody in.
But it'd be nice to send it out to us before.
Yes, send it out to
I'll
us.
send it
before
out.
everybody
Yeah,
has a
absolutely.
chance to
So we
look
have
at
separate
it beforehand.
Absolutely, okay, we'll get that out soon.
I don't know that we need to workshop it.
Yeah, if it's gone through all those,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm only waiting on Mr.
And Dawn,
Holmes.
as long as Dawn has,
That's all I'm waiting on.
and they've all given their stamp of approval.
Yes,
it's a little different than the last time they had a policy.
Yes,
That was just really way far. It was not ready for,
and we've labeled out what the legacy policy portions are staying. So that is in a report.
and
So
what's
anything that changed and what's been erased, there were things in there for the police station and,
right,
I mean, they even had language in there about diskettes. You know, that's how old it was.
I know, we know how old it was.
We
went through it. We
Yeah, we started-
workshopped it and we
Okay.
went through it line by line.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we all went through the old one first.
That is a lot.
Line by line, thinking it was the new one.
Right, because it wasn't marked,
Yeah.
but if I could say, what I would appreciate is, yes, knowing, being informed of any sections that are deleted,
Yes,
and as well, if there are sections that are edited, the normal thing to do and the most helpful to us is to do the strike through and underline.
it would put us back to a very heavy review. There was a lot of stuff that was taken out because it doesn't meet the requirements of today's day and age. I did put a briefing sheet that's really clear as to what was taken out and what was kept.
Right, but I'm saying small changes, it's
Oh.
very helpful because we've had difficulties in the past, like with just a huge book put in front of us and we have no idea what's different unless we read through the entire thing and compare it to the old one, which is,
Very similar to what.
very difficult to do.
The fire department.
Yeah.
Just recently.
I can see if I can get a program to go in and do it, but it's been totally rewritten, 100% rewritten. Legacy policy portions have been kept, those have been added, so you know exactly what was kept, and everything else is new to bring it up to today's best standards and practices, especially EEO, HR, all of those things. The technology, the IT, that's things that weren't even in there before. I really would like to look at it since the Florida League of Cities has taken a look at it. I've got legal reviewing it. Our internal team has looked at it. I really would like to look at it as a brand new document and then look and see what we did keep and make sure that we're okay keeping that. But it is a totally new document and not based off of the old.
Okay, well, parts of the old had absolutely nothing wrong with them, so send us what you got and.
Yes,
And as much of a description as you can.
absolutely. It's already put together for you and you'll get an email by tomorrow.
Okay.
And we all should have a copy, we should have a copy of what we had before, so if you
And I'll-
don't, if somebody needs to be provided with a copy, you can do your comparisons.
Yes.
I will say this, that I went through that with the animal ordinance, and it's very difficult to, when you're changing a lot of things around, that's not an easy, it's a very tedious process,
Yes.
to do on the computer when you're doing that. So my hat's off to anybody that ever does that. So anyway, next week, and commissioners, I just want us to, as we go forward from here forward, when we're doing a workshop like this, like we had a meeting last week, we have a workshop this week, special meeting, we're having a workshop next week. Maybe in the future, as we look at our calendars, let's try to keep those within the weeks that we're meeting, if we can. I think that would be, good. I know the county does that oftentimes. They'll have, their meeting and then they'll have a workshop. So I think that that's something that just, and I'm just doing this more for the convenience of everybody, that it's heavy on staff because they're having to get ready for a meeting week after week after week. We have a new clerk coming on. She's gonna have to go through a lot of training and learning, and if they can do it all at one time and they know they've got that week set aside, because it's kind of like when you're in commission week. And for us too, you think about that. So now, for 3 weeks out of the month, we really have to be here because you're gonna have to prepare. So, that takes quite a bit of time to prepare for the meetings. Just as we go forward, that's something for us to think about. And let's try to
to do those, to
Yeah, to
compress
condense
them,
it, yeah.
condense them, maybe compress them a little
All
bit,
in 1 week would be
you know.
great.
I know,
Mayor?
yes,
But sometimes, I mean, I didn't have particular desire to choose the schedule, but sometimes that cuts the other way because if staff has to prepare for a workshop and they also, usually the week before a commission meeting, there's all kinds of things that come up.
and
So whatever,
and that's not always gonna happen, I'm
Right.
just saying that in
Yeah,
the future,
no, I
maybe
agree.
let's kind of,
and we've done that before.
and we've done that before,
Okay.
so.
I also would like to add, something that we'll bring up and, just to have in the back of your minds. We're gonna tentatively put together a schedule, but we need to have workshops on the budget. We've already started on the budget, and it's coming up. We're gonna be in May. We have already gone through a first round of reconciliation with each of the department heads and looked at the numbers for this year, in comparison to last year, and kind of made some extrapolations, but we've made notes and we do need to start getting together.
Well, also, if you have any adjustments that need to be made.
And we need to
Last
do
year,
that.
we were kind of out there, and so we don't want it to be that close.
Since 25 is completed too, I believe there was some carry forward that we have to discuss as well, and where we wanna put that at.
Mayor, if I could,
Yes.
this was covered in the Plaque Daily News, the Plaque City Commission went through this. I think we need to have as soon as possible, if 2025 is closed out, that statement that shows what the result was and what the overage was in the different departments, what the Plaque City Commission wanted to do, and the staff did not understand that and didn't bring it to them. They wanted to review the 2025 budget performance and review what was on target, what was under, and what was over. I thought that sounded like a great idea, and I would like to see us do that, so that we have some understanding of, you know, how effective the staff projections were, how effective our decisions were. I think that would be a great benefit to understand the prior year before we jump into the next year.
Well, and typically that's what because the prior year, we will have those final figures, and so anytime, I know when I'm looking at the budget, I'm always looking at where were we last year? And did we go over, do we need to make some adjustments back and forth? So thankfully, we do have that, but anything that you can provide is very helpful.
The city commission in Palatka specifically said they wanted to have a preliminary discussion just about where they've been before they jumped.
So that's what you're asking for?
Yes.
Okay, that's a little different. So she was asking if you can have a preliminary discussion. Because you've got that. You've got that on our,
Reporting.
yes,
right,
because you have that on the
2025.
budget, on the budget, so we can look at that
Yes.
just to come, so we know. So
I'll make
all of
sure that-
those should be where they need to be. I know Bertie had to do some adjustments here and there, to make sure that they were allocated in the correct lines.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and we'll do that. We've been looking at, an AI program through Microsoft 360 for finance. It'll help Steve with reporting, and I think that'll help out with what you all are looking for as well.
Well, and Mayor, didn't we ask for a consolidated, explanation of what we are spending for the audit and the CPA? Did we not ask for
Yes,
that?
it's been completed, and I plan on having an email to you all tomorrow.
Okay.
So that work has all been completed for 24-25, for both.
Great, sounds good.
okay, I want everyone to know that if you didn't read this in the news, that bat season starts tomorrow.
That
Bat mating season, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bat mating season starts tomorrow. And, it will go from today, from April 15th is the last day to legally exclude bats from buildings without a permit until August 15th.
And it's impossible to permit.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So if you have holes in your.
It's illegal
Oh,
to
we're
block bats from returning to their roosts.
Right.
This helps prevent flightless bat pups from being trapped inside structures, which could be detrimental to both humans and bats. So I just want everyone to be aware of this. as you go forward. Permits are required to use exclusion devices during Florida's bat maternity season.
Yeah.
I currently have I have a peacock that has 7 eggs as of yesterday and might have more. We thought she was laying more. She's nesting in our backyard.
And Mayor, on the subject of wildlife, may I share with the fuzzy caterpillars? You know about the fuzzy caterpillars?
Yeah, they
Ones
were
that
all
bite?
landing on me.
Yeah, they
2
bought,
weeks ago,
they
yeah.
attacked Commissioner Lori.
Yeah, they
Right, well-
swarming me.
Last night, my husband and I went to the Pomona Park Council meeting to support the students working against tobacco in their presentation. And I was talking to one of the AHEC coordinators from Gainesville. We were standing outside under that nice overhang they have, and a fuzzy caterpillar dropped onto this woman's neck. So anyway, we brushed it off, blah, blah. So it's I did not know they were attacking
Yeah,
Commissioner.
well, I was at the corner of Market Square over there, I was under the trees there,
Right,
and it was windy and they kept falling on me, there was, and of course I can't grab them, I had to wait for them to crawl up my leg.
so
before I swat them off.
it's a thing, especially this year.
And then there
Oh,
was
yeah,
one,
they fall
there
on the
was two
trees all the
over in Eagle Line Park over there.
Stupid question, but what do those turn into when they cocoon? Is it a moth or is
I
it
have
a?
no idea. All I know is they are supposed to
A
make people
man-eating
very itchy.
butterfly.
Yeah, they're supposed to make people very itchy.
Aaron
They
Delaney,
burn,
somebody,
they'll
yeah,
burn, they burn.
somebody sat on one and it
Yeah.
they were in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I don't know, that's a great question, what do they do?
Does anybody Commissioner Burton, do you have anything you want to share with us?
No.
You're good. You're good. Tomorrow we will,
Have fun.
Fernandina, I'm gonna be in Fernandina tomorrow. I'm sorry that we're gonna miss, and then next month we'll be in Atlantic Beach. So we're gonna miss your potluck is next month, correct? So I apologize. Sorry about
You
that.
can bring us food though.
If Don, if everybody is good, no other,
Can,
yes,
can I
sir.
ask that next month you make sure that we make a spot for him, a reservation for, our city manager
Where?
to Atlantic Beach? He wants to go.
I've asked him before, and he's.
Yeah, he never
But he
sounds
wants,
like,
he wants to go to Atlantic Beach.
He never
That's
shows
fine.
up.
And he can make a spot.
AB, it's stomping grounds. If I could go, I would love to go.
Absolutely. I've asked him before and he's canceled on us, so.
I have, and I apologize. I
so-
do want to go with you
So
all.
no, he absolutely can go. I figured he would go to it.
No, I'm bringing him with me, so yeah.
So, yeah, are you gonna go or are you
Yeah, I'm
gonna go
gonna
to
go
your
after
potluck?
the pop-up.
Okay. No, but
That way I don't have to
absolutely,
do anything else.
I've offered him before to go, and so it's, sometimes you have, not historic,
Oh,
planning and
preservation
zoning.
board.
Yeah.
Planning and zoning has met, and so he's had some conflict, so. Anyway, with that, if everybody's good?
I moved, oh, that's workshop.
No, I'm adjourning this. We adjourn, it is approximately 4:53, and this workshop is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for today.
Thank you.
You want to be a coach?
Yes, please.
I put up something.
There's so much